Hello friends, welcome back. We're ranked 89th in Platinum 3. This is war number 6, the halfway point of the season already. Thank goodness. Today we're taking on LMDH, Lunar Midgets, and I forget the rest, but it was something mildly amusing. Today we're going in with our trusty trio, Void, Warlock, and Namor. Let's get right into it. First up we have a Void, surprise, on Long Distance Relationship and Special Lock 1. This is the third time that I've fought Void on this node this season, and the fourth time that he's been on this node. If you remember back in War 3, War 3, somebody else took this path for me and just dominated this Void with Elsa. So, not the case this time, and we have to go in. So we boost up a little bit, mostly for health purposes, but also because this is an R5. The SIG doesn't really matter, but I think he was max SIG, so... Strategy here, as usual, is to try and keep the weakness debuffs off of us as much as we can, and then as soon as we have a special, we're going to fire it off to avoid the Special Lock 1 node from degenning us even further. So I'm already kind of starting off a bit poorly. I've got 4 weakness debuffs on me, now 5, but we did push Void to his Special 2 and dodge that. Things are looking good for the moment, and so right here you see how far away Void is. What do you think he's going to do? If you guessed snap to me with a heavy attack from across the screen, yep, there you go. So pretty much it was at 75% of the screen's distance away from me. He hit me with that, so that pretty much ruins the fight. So I lose my combo, which means I lose my chance to Purify debuff, and then I have to play super aggressively. Imperious Rex hits, so I'm having a trouble getting to a special attack. You see I'm using a technique here to punish Void Special 1. I'm playing extra aggressive. Technique is you dodge the first blast, and then you go back in and dodge the energy ball. Then, of course, I screwed up the second time, and that's pretty much all she wrote here. The degen is just too much. You see it's ticking for 1100 or so. I'm trying to play as aggressive as I can, returning that degen damage, healing up, but I run out of time, and here we go. My first death of the season. I was annoyed, of course, in the moment. A few minutes after that, I was actually pretty relieved. Because I knew it was going to happen sooner or later, and I'm glad I didn't have to just keep the streak going. So we're going to go in with Warlock, finish off this fight here, just a couple hits, and Void goes down. So, disappointing to have a death, but it's first one, halfway through the season. I can't really be upset with that. All right, so we have a thing here on the right mini-boss, chance to redeem myself. Now the explosive personality link was taken down, so it is safe to hit into his block, which is pretty critical when you need to fight Thing. This Thing is also stunnable, which makes any fight with Thing super easy. As always, when I fight Thing with Void, I have to manage the rock stacks. That really goes for any champion, but with Void specifically, you never want to take him above 13 rock stacks if you're going to fire off a special, because both of Void's specials have 2 hit events on them. And you don't want to take him above 15 rock stacks, of course, or you're going to be in some trouble. So this fight is pretty standard. So if he goes back and blocks, I'm going to hit into him safely just to create some space. Even on a stunnable Thing, the danger is always getting backed up into the left corner, and this is because his special attacks cover so much distance that. If he's being very aggressive, throwing his specials, and not dodging back and holding block, you can get backed up very quickly. And once you're in the corner, his heavy is extremely difficult to fully evade, at least for me. And then you're just going to get pounded into oblivion. So this Thing, for some reason, seemed a little tanky. I think it was an R5, but I was still boosted up from the Void fight. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it looks like it because my PI is a bit inflated there. So this fight seemed like it was taking longer than normal. I don't really have an explanation why. It didn't feel like Fear the Void took longer than it typically does to come up in terms of the debuffs that I was getting. So in any case, we get this Thing down, taking minimal chip damage, and moving right along. So we're up on tier 2 now, and we have a Kingpin on Vigor and Indomitable. Warlock just, crushes this fight. So let's go. So you got to be careful, of course, when you parry Kingpin, because he has a chance to shrug it off, and if he shrugs it off, his heavy is unstoppable, so it's really the danger if he goes right into a heavy after shrugging off parry stun. So I'm trying to get up the infection before the first Vigor trigger. Vigor trigger, before it hits, and we do. So the first Vigor regen doesn't do anything for him. Kingpin's health pool is fairly sizable, so if Vigor does trigger, it heals them up for quite a bit. So, but without the regen, it's just a regular Kingpin fight. Now you notice there, I actually should have gotten parried, but Warlock's infections actually reduced the ability accuracy and prevented me from getting parry stun. So make a note that Warlock's ability accuracy is still broken. I thought that they had fixed it, but I guess not. And they can leave it broken for all I care, because that was pretty helpful. All right, if you remember way back in War 1, I actually lost my footage of this similar pair of fights here. So these ones are actually more stacked. So this is an R2 6-star Captain Marvel movie version, of course. So we're going to boost up for the next 2 fights. So this one, and then there's an R2 6-star Domino right after her. So previously, in previous seasons, whenever I saw Captain Marvel on this node, it was an automatic Symbiote Supreme on the team. And then in the off-season, I actually tested Warlock against her on this node, and I found that she was incredibly easy to beat here. So the key is don't hit into her block, number 1, because that gives her those charges. You can safely knock her down because she's not gaining those charges. The other thing to note here is that since I'm running the Resonate Mastery, the weakness debuffs are causing this player to heal with willpower, and therefore keeping Captain Marvel pretty much constantly being power drained. So she got off the one special one to give herself 3 charges, and I'm actually really struggling to keep her up, get her above another bar of power again. So it's really just, parry, go in, back off, and do it again. So she got one special off, and I don't think she gets a second one off the rest of the fight. And holy crap, man, Warlock just makes that fight so much easier than Sim Supreme ever did. So yeah, Warlock, perfect counter, as you might expect for Captain Marvel on this node. All right, moving on. So we have an R2 6-star Domino. She is duped. I didn't bother to check the SIG level because I'm sure it's pretty low. Nevertheless, we aren't going to take any chances because our opponents are running dodge. So I'm going to just top up Warlock there with an L3 potion. And here we go. So right off the bat, can't get a good parry off. Since they're running dodge, I'm not going to do full 5-hit combos in a Domino. I'm just going to do medium, light, and then back off. Whenever I bring her over bar of power, if she gets lucky, I'm going to try and immediately back off. So right there, she did get one evade off. Wasn't able to counter in time, so that's okay. And get my S2 off, and she is power draining also from the willpower. So you notice here she got one special one off, and that is pretty much how this fight goes, similar to the last fight. So I just parry 4 hits, back off, parry again, and she never gets to another special. So, and I'm pretty sure my ability accuracy reduction here with 3 infections up is nixing the chances of her evade. So, again, Warlock just absolutely crushing. Legitimately one of the most difficult fights I think on the map is a Domino on Buffet with dodge, for sure. All right, last but not least for me, we have a Namor. I think this is my first time fighting a Namor in War. This is Recovery Strike Back, going in with Void. So the danger, of course, with Namor is if he gets Imperious Rex, the AI has the ability to immediately fire off a special 3 as soon as he gets maximum power. So the thinking here is that the Petrify debuffs that Void places will actually do a good job of lessening or even canceling out the Imperious Rex power gain. And I didn't test this first, but I didn't think of a reason why it wouldn't have worked. So we do have one Petrify up here. We're trying to dodge this special 2. So he's almost at 30 stacks of Outrage. He got there pretty quickly for not having any bleed failures on me. There you see, so he triggered Imperious Rex and barely got above 2 bars of power, so Petrify does work against Namor's power gain, and right here he's just going to fall over dead. Anyway, so this war turned out to be another loss for us, so our record falls to 2-4. Hasn't been a very successful season by any measure for our alliance. Nevertheless, low potion war for me, 1 death, and so we'll try and start the streak over again in terms of wars where I can go without dying. So that's it from me. Thanks for watching, and if you want to see more of this, don't forget to like and comment. Let me know how your season is going, and we'll see you again next time.